I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. And they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their politics was even worse. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them, they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so.
Hello everyone, welcome to Trump Media. In today's video, we'll be discussing about a plane crash that occurred in Washington D.C. The crash involved an American Airlines regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter. There were no survivors. The video discusses the events leading up to the crash, the investigation, and the potential causes. The video also discusses the role of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies in the crash. The video is hosted by Donald Trump. A tragic disaster in the skies over Washington, D.C., an American Airlines regional jet and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter, two aircraft on a collision course, resulting in a devastating crash with no survivors. How did this happen? What led to the catastrophic failure in air traffic control? And could policies meant to ensure fairness and inclusion have played a role in the events leading up to this disaster? This should never have happened. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and we're going to restore the highest standards in aviation safety immediately. Tonight, we break down the timeline of the crash, examine the investigation, and dive into the heated debate over the policies shaping our aviation industry. Was this tragedy preventable? And what comes next? But before we start, it would really mean a lot if you guys would like and subscribe to the channel, and also turn on that notification bell to stay updated with our future uploads. So yeah, without further ado, let us begin. So the video begins with Trump expressing his condolences to the families of the victims of the crash. He then discusses the events leading up to the crash, including the fact that the two aircraft were at the same altitude and on a collision course. So here are the clips.
I speak to you this morning in an hour of anguish for our nation. Just before 9 p.m. last night, an American Airlines regional jet carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter carrying 3 military service members over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., while on final approach to Reagan National Airport. Both aircraft crashed instantly and were immediately submerged into the icy waters of the Potomac. Real tragedy. The massive search and rescue mission was underway throughout the night, leveraging every asset at our disposal, and I have to say the local, state, federal, military, including the United States Coast Guard in particular, they've done a phenomenal job. So quick, so fast, it was mobilized immediately. The work has now shifted to a recovery mission. Sadly, there are no survivors. We do not know what led to this crash, but we have some very strong opinions and ideas, and I think we'll probably state those opinions now. Because over the years I've watched as things like this happen, and they say, well, we're always investigating, and then the investigation 3 years later, they announce it. We think we have some pretty good ideas, but we'll find out how this disaster occurred, and we'll ensure that nothing like this ever happens again. The FAA and the NTSB and the U.S. military will be carrying out a systematic and comprehensive investigation. Our new Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, his second day on the job when that happened. It's a rough one. We'll be working tirelessly. He's a great gentleman. The whole group these are great people, and they are working tirelessly to figure out exactly what happened. So we all saw the same thing. We've seen it many times. I've had the honor of hearing tapes. Tapes are scary, very scary tapes. You had a airliner coming in, American Airlines. He was doing everything right. He was on track. He was the same track as everybody else. They came in. It's probably the same track as they've had for 25 years or more. He's coming in the path. And for some reason, he had a helicopter that was at the same height, obviously when they hit, but pretty much the same height, and going at an angle that was unbelievably bad. When the air traffic controller said, "Do you see?" He was talking about, "Do you see him?" But there was very little time left when that was stated. And then also he said, "Follow him in." And then almost immediately after that, seconds after that, there was the crash that took place. Well, you follow him in, that means like everything's fine. Follow him in.
Trump then discusses the role of DEI policies in the crash. He argues that these policies have led to a decline in the quality of air traffic controllers. He also claims that the FAA is now hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. Trump then goes on to say that he has issued an executive order to restore the highest standards for air traffic controllers. He also says that he will be firing any air traffic controllers who are not mentally competent. The video then shifts to a discussion of the investigation into the crash. Trump says that he believes that the crash was caused by a combination of factors, including the DEI policies of the FAA and the fact that the helicopter was flying at the same altitude as the plane. So, here are the clips.
We must have only the highest standards for those who work in our aviation system. I changed the Obama standards from very mediocre at best to extraordinary. You remember that. Only the highest aptitude, they have to be the highest intellect and psychologically superior people were allowed to qualify for air traffic controllers. That was not so prior to getting there. When I arrived in 2016, I made that change very early on because I always felt this was a job that, and other jobs too, but this was a job that had to be superior intelligence, and we didn't really have that, and we had it. And then when I left office and Biden took over, he changed them back to lower than ever before. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. And they put politics at a level that nobody's ever seen, because this was the lowest level. Their policy was horrible, and their politics was even worse. So as you know, last week, long before the crash, I signed an executive order restoring our highest standards for air traffic controllers and other important jobs throughout the country. And my administration will set the highest possible bar for aviation safety. We have to have our smartest people. It doesn't matter what they look like, how they speak, who they are. It matters intellect, talent, the word talent. They have to be talented, naturally talented geniuses. You can't have regular people doing that job. They won't be able to do it. But we'll restore faith in American air travel. I'll have more to say about that. I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they want them, they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was in January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program.
The video concludes with Trump saying that he will not hesitate to fire any air traffic controllers who are not mentally competent. He also says that he will continue to fight to restore the highest standards for air traffic controllers. Then after that, that's pretty much it. As the investigation unfolds, one question still remains. How do we prevent a disaster like this from ever happening again? So leave your thoughts in the comments down below, and also don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and of course turn on notifications so that you guys will be notified for our future uploads. That is all. Thank you for watching.